Any questions, please?
Hey, now.
Shaka, you have an update on Kendall himself, will he be able to play on this?
Still uncertain whether he's going to be able to play or not. He took a pretty hard hit to his head, and so his status is unclear.
Is he going to go?
Yes.
After a long homestand, you glad to be back on the road?
Well, we're excited about the trip. It's we played in this tournament a few years ago when I was coaching at VCU, and it's always just a stacked field. A lot of really good teams. A lot of teams that at the end of the year will be in contention, to win big games in the NCAA tournament. So it's a really good opportunity for our team to see if we can take a step against some great competition.
Having not lived it all through Texas A&M, and everything that happened here, how much have you heard about it since you've been here?
Heard about it a lot from fans that I've run into, and obviously folks that work in the athletic department here, and certainly being a fan of college sports, had an awareness of the rivalry and the fact that the two schools shared a conference for so long, multiple conferences, but for me. It's really a matter of just helping our team take a step. And Texas A&M's got a terrific team. I think they're a top 25 caliber team, and they're very dynamic with their attack. They've got a lot of older guys. They've got a really good freshman class, so it'll be a really good challenge for us.
Chuck, obviously you getting to know your team over the course of the games. What have you learned so far as you guys have gotten into game time and how to practice?
Well, learning a lot. I mean, we've played 2 games, and so really only 2 games into knowing our team from the standpoint of what they do when the lights are on. I've been here for about 7.5 months, so I think relationship-wise we're a lot further ahead than we are in terms of knowing each other from a game standpoint. But we've made some progress. I think we took a small but significant step from our first game to our second game in terms of carryover. We got a long way to go. Our guys are still really learning what we want in practice. I think they're further ahead right now than they are in the games, but now we got to get to the point, obviously, where the game catches up or even exceeds practice. So that happens a lot early in the year with teams, particularly teams where there's a lot of transition. So, I think, again, this tournament, we're going to play 3 games in 3 days, and, really gives us a great opportunity to grow.
You're talking about team shift. You did a lot in the offseason to build that.
Mm-hmm.
Do these global trips, are you at least getting that accelerated right out of the gate?
Well, you spend a lot of time together, if that's what you mean. And, our guys, on that trip to China, we were together for a solid 7-8 days, pretty much all day. So that's good just to be around each other. But again, when you get into the games, there's a whole different set of dynamics that come into play. And I think that's the case anywhere. But particularly a place like Texas where there is a lot of attention paid to the program. There are players that have, let's face it, certain expectations that they feel internally or that they feel from the outside. So, all that is new as of November 13th. And now what our team's in the process of doing is getting to know how to best function together in that dynamic.
How does the travel affect your substitution pattern, and how do you preserve fresh legs going forward?
The trip back from China, it's taken a while for our guys to fully, recover. As coaches, we can feel it ourselves, and we're not obviously doing the same thing our guys are doing physically. I would say we're just trying to get a feel for having fresh guys on the floor. I don't know that the travel affects our substitution pattern a lot, but we want to play a lot of guys. We want to have guys out there that can play extremely hard while they're on the floor. They're still learning, the guys are, about how to play within that dynamic, because I think it's different than maybe what some of them have experienced in the past. And now, the biggest thing in terms of substitutions is going to be, again, we play 3 games in 3 days. So it's a very quick turnaround, and your body doesn't necessarily have 48 hours to recover like it would normally.
You're rotating a lot of guys. Where's Jordan Barnett fitting in right now?
Well, I hope he can fit in, more prominently than he has, but it's just a matter of, him continuing to improve and make strides. I think he has shown some improvement in practice. But, we've got 12 scholarship guys on our team. Tough to play that many. I think the most we've played really in the past has been 11. So, to play more, he's, going to have to displace someone else or someone else's minutes, at least partially. And, we'll see how that works out. This season is so young. I think a lot of times people get, up in arms about, where things are after a game or two in terms of who's playing and who's not playing and who's playing well. Guys things are going to continue to evolve and change. For a lot of our guys, hopefully in a positive direction. But, that's something that there's a level of accountability on each of our guys and on us as coaches to create.
Who do you consider this program's biggest rival?
I'm still figuring that out. I mean, you guys probably know better than me. I guess from the fans I've talked to, it's obviously, the bigger program, the bigger programs, both within our league and A&M being in the SEC around the state, outside of us, and then obviously Oklahoma is a huge one to the fans. Kansas, just from the standpoint of their stature in the basketball world, has to be mentioned as well. So, be challenging for me to pick one. I think if you got it right. Okay. Good.
Small sample size, and as you said, your team still has a long way to go. Specifically, where do you want to see them take a step in this tournament and as you guys continue to play out the season?
Well, I think the biggest thing is our focus has to be on following our plan. And we got much better with that from our first game to our second game in terms of carrying over what we talk about doing. There's such a focus, and I know it's a huge part, obviously, of your job on the results. And our guys want the results. I want the results, and I understand that's what coaches and players are judged on. But we really have to focus on our process. And sometimes the emphasis on the results can obscure the process, and that makes it challenging for young guys because if you don't follow the process, that is one guarantee you're not going to get the results. And the process is not pretty, it's not sexy, it's not something that's out in front of everyone to brag about, but it is something that works, and it's something that if our guys continue to own and own more and more, then we're going to have a lot of success.
Shaka, Tevin's obviously not shooting the ball really well right now. You just tell him to keep shooting.
Yeah, and then get the best shots that he can. I think one of the things that we focus a lot on is what we call shot quality, and we grade every shot. And the higher quality shots he can get, the more likelihood there's going to be that he's going to make them. Now he's missed some really makeable shots our first couple of games. It's funny because the guy that we recruited him at VCU to replace had a phenomenal career, ended up being the second leading scorer of all time at VCU. He started his career 1 for 16 from the field, and we told Tevin that many times just from the standpoint of, hey, sometimes from humble beginnings you can do great things. We told him that well before he started his first couple games the way he has. So, I think for all three of our freshmen, it's a challenging dynamic in that they've got to understand to reach their goals. Again, you have to follow the process, and you've got to stay dedicated to the plan. When things haven't gone exactly the way that they hoped or wanted, they get a little bummed out. That's because they care so much. That's good. I don't want to coach guys that don't care. But at the same time, they've got to know that when you go out there on the floor, you're playing against a higher caliber of player than you have in the past. The good thing is they've really been good in practice. And from the years I've been doing this, when freshmen are really good in practice, it's going to be just a matter of time until they carry it over to the game. Obviously, we want that to happen sooner as opposed to later.
Shaka, by the time you guys get to, let's say, Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
do you have in your mind where you're thinking, I want us to go into the conference, we need to be good at this, X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
Or is it still a process where you're trying to figure out what all they do when the lights come on?
Well, most of the stuff that we want to be good at by then or by conference play or whenever you want to say is mindset stuff. It's approach stuff. I mean, we need to be tougher minded. We need to be a team that is more connected. I don't think our guys realize how much they need each other, and that's something that we focused on a lot really since we got here. But our guys are really good with it off the court. But when you get on the court, that's when those five guys have to be so utterly connected. And the best teams all have that. So I definitely want to make progress in that. Our aggressiveness and just a mentality of going after people, that was a staple of ours the last 6 years. We don't have that to the extent that we need to yet. So those are examples of things we're trying to put into this team. From a basketball standpoint, yeah, I mean, there's 100 things we want to be much better in terms of our execution, defensively. We've actually played pretty good first shot defense these first couple of games. The problem's been giving up offensive rebounds, and that's something we certainly want to continue to get better at. But you know how coaches are. I mean, it's probably a short list of things that we don't feel like we need to get better at.
Shaka, with this game being against such a huge rival, the historic implications of it and everything, how do you keep your team's mindset where you want it to be, where they don't make this too big of a game because it is an A&M?
Yeah, that's a great point. And then in addition to that, we play again, in less than 24 hours. So, it's one of those things that it's an important game because of a lot of reasons, but most importantly because it's our next game, and we want our guys to go after it with everything that we have. But at the same time, we don't want to get outside of what matters most, which again is our process, our plan. What is our approach towards this game? The things that we control. And if we can really focus on what we control, that gives us the best chance to be successful. Again, I think we really took a step with that in our last game from our first game, but we still got a long way to go because, I love the fact that our guys really want to do well, and individually and collectively, they really want it. But sometimes, again, when that result is all that's on your mind, it can take away a little bit from your focus on how you get it done, and that's where our focus needs to be.
You mentioned having played there back in 2012. How different with the lighting is it? Because it's like it almost looks like on TV, like it's blacked out all the way around. And
Yeah.
All the lights. You practice at the Irwin Center with all the lights off, or spotlight on the court, or how do you?
No, because every background is different. And, when we went to China, first thing some of our coaches mentioned when we went in and shot the night before was like, wow, this is really, really different shooting background. But, Atlantis, trying to remember, it was a few years ago, but it's almost like there's like these blue lights, coming down on the court, and then you're right, the stands. I mean, the quote-unquote arena, it's basically a big ballroom that they've turned into an arena. It's pretty neat, actually. But, we'll get in there. We get to practice tomorrow there, so we'll get a sense for it. And, from what I remember, it was a pretty good shooting background. So hopefully it will be that for us this time around.
How was the shot quality in the second game? Thought they were great every shot.
Yeah, it was better than much better than the Washington game, but it still wasn't where we want it to be. There's certain numbers that we go for. We have 4 different types of shots that we classify. Basically, a great shot, a good shot, a decent shot, and a bad shot. So it was better. We certainly missed some really good ones. So we'll take those again. Eric Davis shooting a wide open 3 in rhythm. We'll take that all day long. and he's going to end up making his share of those. We still, around the basket, need to finish much, much better, and I think that'll be a big key for us in the A&M game, because they've got good size around the basket, and the reality is you get the ball deep down in there, you got to put it away.
Has Cam just impressed you with his transformation, being more athletic, more versatile?
He has, and I think he can even do more. I think Cam is capable of just being a terrific player, and I've really been pleased with his approach. I mean, he's practiced really, really hard. He's done all the things we've asked him to do. He's very, knock on wood, he's very durable for a guy that size. He comes to work, and I think the thing that he's really doing a good job of right now, that's obviously huge for our team, is he's rebounding out of his area. So he doesn't just get the ones that come to him, but he's going and getting some other ones. What our guys need to understand, and again, we did a better job of this on Saturday, but there's just times where you got to make sure you get that guy the ball, and so on Saturday, we told our guys every half we're throwing it in at least 8 times. That's the minimum. But I don't know if you remember, there's a possession where he created 2 offensive rebounds in a row. He went and got one, and then the other one, I think he went and tipped, and one of our other guys got it. And then we ended up having one of our guards drive and kind of miss a floater. He's got to have the ball. If a big guy goes and gets you 2 extra opportunities, that ball's got to go right back to him. So that's just a learning process for our team and them to understand. But I'm really pleased with him. At the same time, I think he can even keep getting better.
2 last ones?
How excited is Shaq to go home? And where have you seen him make the most growth as a player over the last 8 months?
Yeah, Shaq's really excited to go back to the Bahamas, and he's got certainly a crew coming, and we're looking forward to it for him. Because a lot of our guys are from the state of Texas. You kind of take for granted that they get to play in front of their family. Shaq's a long way away from home, so I'm really glad for him that he's going to get these 3 games in front of mom and dad, but also some other family and friends. The biggest thing for Shaq is just being on the court. He went a long, long time without playing in a game, and so now he's on the court, and he's done some good things. He's just got to keep getting better at playing with energy and with motor. I think he's a guy that can really help our team from a physicality standpoint. So looking forward to seeing what he can do down there.
With the loss in China and the long travel and recovery, was that more a negative than a positive?
Is that a loaded question or what? You know what? The loss was a negative. I'll give you that much. But when I got here, the game was already scheduled. And, we made a decision really early on that we were going to make it the best experience we possibly could. Obviously from a team standpoint, you want to go over there and win the game. And that kind of changes your lens from it, in terms of everything else that happened. The flip side is if you lose the game, you don't necessarily see things through rosy glasses. But I'll be honest with you. It's a challenging dynamic, and it continues to be that our guys, missed that much class. But I do think there was a lot of positives from the experience for our guys. And again, I tend to try to focus on the things I can control, and that's what I emphasize to our team and our staff. So we just want to make that trip the best we could. Now that it's over, our emphasis has been on trying to recover the best we can physically and, sleep-wise and all that. And, now we'll go to the Bahamas and move forward.
Thanks, gang.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it. Thanks, guys.